Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention, please? Could everyone please step behind the yellow line? Can we have the elected officials here, please?
Good morning, classmate. How you doing?
Stand in front of me.
Wait, turn around, wait for the camera. Turn around, the camera's over here, look.
Mike Colombo, United States Marine Corps. And on behalf of Mayor Michael James Lynn and the elected officials of our community, I'd like to welcome you to today's Patriots Day ceremony. Would you all please stand to attention as the 1st New Hampshire Regiment of the Revolutionary War post colors. Post colors. At this time, Chief Sands will post the United States colors to the sound of the national anthem.
Company, present arms!
Please welcome former World War II POW, former mayor of our community, City Councilor Alfred Pompeo.
Mayor McGlynn, my comrades, auxiliaries, friends. This morning we are participating in a unique ceremony. The stars and stripes of our nation, banner of freedom, democracy, and courage, is joined by the flag that symbolizes the sacrifice of America's prisoners of war and that of her unaccounted for heroes who remain on the rolls of the missing in action. The flag raised is not a colorful flag. It is not an inspiring emblem. It was not intended to be. Black is the garb of mourners. It is the color of those who grieve for their lost ones. Returned POWs and all others still long for the news of those missing in action. On this somber black flag is a profiled head that once was held proudly high, that once stood stalwart against the enemy, but now bowed. It is the portrayal of a crestfallen captive under the watchful eye of his tower guard. It is the image of an American serviceman who has been stripped of all dignity and self-respect. The POW-MIA flag is a stark and haunting reminder of man's inhumanity to man and a nation's pledge that their POWs and MIAs will never be forgotten. To submit to the enemy, to surrender in battle, is a decision arrived at when no alternative remains. Putting down one's arms when to resist is futile is to acknowledge that discretion is the better part of valor. Forced marches, torturous interrogations, unfit living conditions, rodent-ridden camps, lice-infested bodies, starvation, dysentery, disease, and death were all the companions of prisoners of war. Life in the Stalags, the German prison camps, like all other war prison camps, was a psychological as well as a physiological ordeal. Coping with confinement and boredom in a barbed wire compound tested one's will not to succumb to depression and self-pity. While incarceration was made more tolerable, talking about mother's home-cooked meals, many found it helpful not to be too proud to pray. Survival, it seems, was as much reliant on faith as on food. Prisoners of war knew that America would prevail against her enemies. They never doubted their nation's resolve to effect their liberation. Yet, while mindful that their country would not abandon them, many petitioned for help from a higher authority. And to this day, they humbly confess that it was amazing grace that set them free.
Somebody, shoulder, fire line. Horn, fire lines.
Gentlemen, to conclude the POW MIA ceremony here at City Hall, I would ask at this point that you allow the 1st New Hampshire Regiment and the Medford High School Band to lead all those present to the ceremony as we honor our revolutionary heroes. Captain Stokes, form them up, march them over.
Company, to the right, face. To the right, march.
Jimmy.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. My name is John Revere. On behalf of the Medford Allied Veterans Council and Edward Florino, Director of Veteran Services here in the city of Medford, we welcome you to another phase of our Patriots Day celebration. Our invocation this morning is said by Reverend Dr. Adelard Everson, the West Medford Baptist Church. Dr. Let us pray. Eternal God of the past, present, and future, Lord of history, through whose power men have won their freedom, through thy justice beheld a vision of a righteous nation, through thy will laid down their lives through dedication in the purchase of liberty. We are mindful of the heritage which is ours. Help us to be worthy to stand in this place of hallowed ground, men and women of the Revolution who were buried here and in whose memory we honor today, and all men and women who have given of themselves to serve their nation. Some of us who stand here this day. Help us likewise to be steadfast in courage, unwavering to fulfill the task which is before us. And in that same dedication, may our hearts and lives sing with the liberty of the song we love, and may a prayer unto thee. My country visit thee, sweet land of liberty. Of thee I will sing. Long may thy land be bright with freedom's holy light. Protect us with thy might, great God, our King. In thy holy name we pray. Amen. Thank you, Dr. Riverton. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael J. McGlynn, Mayor of the City, will be a proclamation issued by His Excellency Governor William Bell. Mayor McGlynn. Thank you, Senator. Commonwealth of Massachusetts, a proclamation by His Excellency Governor William F. Wells. Whereas April 19, 1775 had a profound bearing on the history of our nation, and whereas on that day, three famous patriots, Paul Revere, William Dawes, and Dr. Samuel Prescott, rode through the night to warn fellow colonists that British troops had been assembled and were coming with the intention of capturing the colonist leaders and seizing their supplies. And whereas answering that alarm, men and women congregated on the village green in Lexington on the morning of April 19, 1775, took up arms and commenced the struggle that would end with the colony's independence from England. And whereas the shot heard around the world was fired and conquered by determined patriots from the Middlesex countryside who confronted the redcoats and ultimately forced the British to turn back at the North Bridge. And whereas joining forces along the battle road at Menominee, now known as Arlington, Minuteman, militia, and colonists from cities and towns throughout the Commonwealth decidedly overpowered the retreating British. And whereas it is appropriate that all Massachusetts citizens recognize the importance of this day in our history and pay tribute to the dedicated people who fought at the village green in Lexington on that decisive day. Now, therefore, I, William F. Wells, Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim April 19, 1995 as Patriots Day and observe April 18, 1895 as a day of celebration and urge the citizens of the Commonwealth to take cognizance of this event by paying tribute to these valiant individuals in Massachusetts and by recognizing their loyalty, courage, and dedication to our priceless heritage of freedom. Given at the Executive Chamber, William F. Wells, Governor, William F. Galvin, Secretary of the Commonwealth. Ladies and gentlemen, the musical selection, formed by the Patriots Senior Drum and Bugle Corps, Faith of Our Fathers. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Medford City Council, the Honorable Robert A. Mayo.
Good morning. We are again privileged this morning to gather here at the Salem Street Burying Ground to renew a tradition and to fulfill an inherited obligation. That of paying homage to the early settlers of our community who on that fateful April day in 1775 sent forth 59 brave men to join in the Battle of Lexington and Concord. The men of Medford Company and the volunteers that they picked up along the way joined with Reading Company and fought the British at Marion's Corner in Lexington. 2 of the 59 gave their lives to the cause. In today's society, there are those who claim that patriotism is out of fashion, that to remember the deeds and the sacrifices of those who founded, who built, and who have defended this free nation of ours is, to say the least, passé. But we in Medford continue to meet for that purpose as we do this morning. Thanks to our historical, veterans, and scout organizations, and to the efforts of caring individuals, Patriots Day is duly observed with appropriate ceremonies in our community. To them, I offer our thanks for their dedication to patriotism. As citizens of a community that is blessed with such a rich heritage, a history that is unsurpassed by any locale, we remember with deep pride and venerate with lasting appreciation the men who answered with gallantry the call to arms at the beginning of the war for American independence. Those patriots were the giants of their time. How can we not be proud as we look with lasting respect to that granite pyramid that stands in the center of this burying ground, a monument that honors General John Brooks. As a young man, he was among those who took up arms on April 19th. His service at Lexington was but an early page in a long and distinguished career as a soldier, a physician, a public servant, and as a respected citizen. We would be remiss as a community if we failed to remember people like John Brooks, forebears who stand out so boldly in Medford's history. A friend and comrade of George Washington, John Brooks went on to achieve the rank of Major General, and as a public servant, he served the Commonwealth of Massachusetts as its governor. To this day, he remains the only Medford resident to have ever served in the state's highest office, its governorship. That grand monument was erected in 1838, 8 years following his death, by some very proud citizens of the then small town of Medford. The inscription on that monument is vivid in telling us why that great patriot was so widely known, so highly honored, and so truly beloved. It reads, "Sacred to the memory of John Brooks, who was born in Medford in May of 1752 and educated at the town school. He took up arms for his country on the 19th day of April, 1775. He commanded a regiment which first entered the enemy's lines at Saratoga and served with honor to the end of the war. He was appointed Marshal of the District of Massachusetts by President Washington, and after filling several important civic and military offices, he was in the year 1816 chosen Governor of the Commonwealth and discharged the duties of that station for 7 successive years to general acceptance. He was a kind and skillful physician, a brave and prudent officer, a wise, firm, and impartial magistrate, a true patriot, a good citizen, and a faithful friend. In his manners, he was a gentleman, in morals pure, and in the profession and practice, a consistent Christian. He departed this life in peace on the 1st of March, 1825, aged 73. This monument to his honored memory was erected by several of his fellow citizens and friends in the year 1838. Those who penned that inscription and erected that monument, I am confident, fully expected that those who followed them in the future decades would continue to perpetuate the memory of men and women like General Brooks, people who played such a prominent role in the history of Medford and of Massachusetts, and yes, of the United States. Today, 157 years after the dedication of the Brooks Monument on this April morning in 1995, we do just that. We convene to remember, with pride and an appreciation of our heritage, and to salute not only the 59 men of Medford Company who marched to Lexington, not only that revered citizen soldier John Brooks, but all Medford men and women who have followed them for more than 2 centuries. bravely and resolutely answering the call to arms whenever the freedom of our nation has been at risk. In remembering their deeds and their sacrifices, each of us can better appreciate what we enjoy in times of peace, the many bounties that are ours as a free people. On this Patriots Day, coming this year at the season of Easter and Passover, let us ask God to bless our community of Medford and to bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now decorate the graves of those patriots who are buried in this particular cemetery. As you know, there is another cemetery in the city of Medford where many others who fought in the Revolutionary War are buried. And in honoring those here today, we also honor those Medford residents who are buried in cemeteries not only in our community, but out and down the entire 13 colonies. Those graves were decorated by the Girl Scouts in the city of Medford, and while they were doing so, the Kevin Barry Pipers will be planting flowers in the field. I would also want to put those ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, there are not only Medford patriots who are buried in this particular graveyard. There are 47 members of the 1st New Hampshire Regiment who are buried in common graves to my immediate left. The 8th grade is marked by a plain stone. Those men who were buried in that grave were killed in the Battle of Bunker Hill. And we are very honored to have with us this morning members of the 1st New Hampshire Regiment. I'd like to introduce to you Captain Joseph Stokes, who is the commanding officer of the 1st New Hampshire Regiment, for 3 remarks. He concludes his remarks, the 1st New Hampshire Regiment will decorate that grave. Captain Stokes. Thank you. I'd like to thank Mayor McGlynn and the citizens of Medford for inviting us to come here today to honor the fallen heroes of New Hampshire. As we were reminded earlier, the POW ceremony was a suffering of POWs. In a sense, these men are the ultimate POWs. They left their homes, their families, their farms 220 years ago and have never returned. The First New Hampshire Regiment has close ties to Medford as it was formed on Revere Hill shortly after the battles of Lexington and Concord. And it was on June 17th that they marched from that hill to fortify the redoubt thrown up the night before on Breeze Hill. They took up positions along a split rail fence and a stone wall to the beach and withstood 2 furious attacks in the course of the battle. When the 3rd charge finally carried the redoubt, John Stark formed his men behind the redoubt and allowed them to retreat in an orderly manner and not be massacred by the British troops coming up the hill. The last man killed at Bunker Hill was Major McCleary when he was struck by a cannonball as he crossed the causeway trying to get to Somerville. He was also from New Hampshire. It bears some irony as the first man killed at Bunker Hill was also struck by a cannonball. His name was Asa Pollard of Bill Ricker. The 1st New Hampshire Regiment went on from there to fight many battles. It was finally discharged in Newburgh, New York in 1783, thus making it the longest serving regiment in the Revolutionary War. Sergeant Hayden, please separate the flag and praise. Thank you, Captain Stokes. Ladies and gentlemen, musical selection by one yellow band.
Thank you. On the pulse on this beautiful morning, I'd like to share a blessing in honor of all the beautiful, brave men and women buried here at the Salem Creek Burial Ground. Ubi carita, ami, amor, ubi carita, ea, death. Beloved, where God is, there is love. and God is right here today through the faith of our fathers and our mothers. Let us bow our heads to the benediction. And now, gracious God, our Father, may God bless you. May his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the God lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. In the name of the Trinity, God the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend King. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be honoring our fallen heroes with a series of salutes. The first will be performed by Code 45, American Legion Firing Squad. The second will be performed by the 1st New Hampshire Regiment Musketeers. A third volley will be sounded by the 1st New Hampshire Regiment with their cannons located immediately outside the grounds. That will be followed, after the cannon, will be followed by taps by Ralph Lionmaster and Post 45 American Legion.
Handle cartridge. Charge cartridge. Ram cartridge. Prime. Hey, grenade! Fire! Hey, grenade! Fire!
Hey, Joe. How are you? Happy Patriots Day. You too.
Happy Patriots Day.
Right over here. Where's the big sign? Where's the big sign?
So they have the mall.
My name is John Sardone. I'm the past commander of the Disabled Vets here in Medford. And this is one wonderful ceremony that they have every year. Patriots Day means a lot to the veterans because veterans go back as far back as the Boxer rebellions years ago. And this is quite an event that takes place each and every year.
And my name is Tom McCartney, Post 45 American Legion. I'm happy to be here to celebrate this great event, and glad to see so many people here enjoying this thing. Thank you very much. God love you all. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Marsha Karen, Coordinator of Fine Arts for the public schools. We're glad to be here today on this beautiful sunny day, and we love participating in the Patriots Day Parade. I want to say that I'm very proud of the Medford High School Band and Color Guard. They've done a lot this year. We're very happy to have them. We've had such a successful year. We're very proud of them. They've just participated in an exchange concert with Tingsboro High School Band. And coming up on May 13th, we're hoping Channel 3 will be there. Mo Vaughn is coming to be guest conductor, and he's going to make an appearance with the Medford High School Band. So we're very happy to have him, and we look forward to seeing you all there. 7:30, Medford High School cage.
The only one that can park in the square now is Paul Revere and his men. This is so we can win the war and go to Lexington. Bye. Bye now.
Good afternoon. Want to congratulate everybody on this excellent ceremony today. I think it's wonderful to bring back the Patriot Day activities for our younger generation. And at this time, I'd like to introduce our past president of the Gold Star Mothers, Ann Swain. Mary Hannaford, past president of the American Legion Auxiliary Unit 45. Sally Moralia, past president of the American Legion Auxiliary. Ann Dean is treasurer of the American Legion Auxiliary Unit 45. Dolores, come on. Dolores Cirillo is shy, and I'm Marion Daly, president of the American Legion Auxiliary Unit 45, and everybody have a wonderful day.
Let's go, boys. Raiders back. Hey, Raiders.
probably one that it is. That's your dad know that. One brand. Yeah. Go down to the White Horse? Sure. Let me walk down with him.
Masses of moving shapes of shades. By the trembling ladder, deep and tall, to the highest window in the wall, where he paused to listen and look down, a moment on the roofs of the town, and the moonlight glowing over all. Beneath, in the churchyard, lay the dead, in their night encampment on the hill, wrapped in silence so deep and still, that he could hear, like a sentinel's tread, the watchful night wind as it went, creeping along from tent to tent, and seeming to whisper, all is well. A moment only he feels the spell of the place and the hour and the secret dread of the lonely belfry and the dead. But suddenly, all his thoughts are bent on a shadowy something far away, where the river widens to meet the bay, a line of black that bends and floats on the rising tide like a bridge of ghosts. Meanwhile, impatient to mount and ride, booted and spurred with a heavy stride, on the opposite shore walked Paul Revere.
Alicia, thank you very much. Great job. Before I introduce our guest of honor, I want to introduce one other person here of great note, 83 years young, just recently, the original Paul Revere for many years, General Dino DeCarlo, if you could take a bow. General, thanks for being here. And now I'd like to introduce the General's grandson, Paul Revere.
I want to thank all of you for coming out here today. It's great to see a big crowd here, but I must go on to Lexington to warn the rest of the people that the British are coming and off to Concord. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Lisa, right that way. Gotta get you right. Get the rides off to the sunset.
Stay back. I want to thank everybody for coming today. I just want to thank the 1st Regiment of New Hampshire for traveling all the way down to join with us today. Certainly added to our festivities.
Folks, you got to move back. There's still other horses and people coming up.
We thank you very much. We also want to thank Sergeant Mike Palumbo, who was detached here from the Pentagon earlier this week to ensure the safety of Paul Revere and his riding crew. Thank you, Sarge. And last but not least, Kenny Gaffney for the hospitality that he shows to all of us every year. Thank you, Mr. Gaffney.
Well, it's a beautiful day here in Medford Square on this Patriots Day. We had Paul Revere come on down and say hello and warn us. And look at this is great. Everybody's having a great day.